The Serbian Mafia is a big, powerful group in Serbia that started after some tough times in the country. They're known for being involved in illicit activities such as selling illegal drugs and weapons. Like in movies, they have strong connections with important political figures, making it difficult for the authorities to catch them. This gang isn't just a small-time group. They're as organized and dangerous as other famous crime groups around the world, like the Yakuza in Japan, or the Mafia in Russia. Today, we're going to talk about how the Serbian Mafia came to be, how it grew so strong, and what problems it causes for people in Serbia and other places. Understanding this is important because it affects how safe people feel and how countries can work together to mitigate crime. So, let's go into the Serbian Mafia world. The Serbian Mafia sprouted early enough under a system of government known as socialism when Yugoslavia was a country. In those days, Yugoslavia put crime groups in favorable conditions, such as a lack of monetary throughout, and problems in political scenarios. The government did not always act against these groups, and that meant such groups could grow massively without much hindrance. Some of these groups began to engage in criminal activities such as smuggling and theft, not only within the borders of Yugoslavia, but also in other regions, including Western Europe. There was a man named Boško Radonjic, who was very popular as a thief organizer, one of the most famous being at a museum in 1971. From this, one can see just how daring and resourceful these criminals were. When the 90s arrived and there were wars in Yugoslavia, it became even more confusing. It was like a playpen for the crime groups, because the country's situation was often unstable. The number of bad things one could do remained rather high, and the chances of getting caught were rather low. Some people who were once soldiers or ordinary folks turned to crime as a way to make money during hard times. Groups like the Zeman clan became very well known for dealing with illegal drugs and weapons, and made connections with other crime groups in Europe. This was when the Serbian Mafia really made its mark in the international criminal world, not only in Serbia but in Europe at large. They became so powerful that they were negotiating with the justice and political system to avoid being arrested. Structure and organization are more like who is the boss and whom to follow. But in the Siberian Mafia, this rule is different. The Serbian Mafia, a group that is on a different note from some other groups you might know such as Japan's Yakuza or Italy's Mafia. In contrast to those groups that have a clear boss and clear set of rules, the Serbian Mafia is just a group of people who all have their own agendas. They are not always affiliated with one leader, which makes them extremely challenging for the police to apprehend. Presently, there are a few groups in the Serbian Mafia that are extremely popular. One of them is called Group America. It's because it works not only in Serbia, but all over the world, and it even has connections with some very important secret groups. The founder of the Group America, Mileta Miljanic, ensured they were very unforgiving and could function in many countries, and that is why most people rumored they were very scary and mighty. Another grouping that should be familiar to you is the Zeman clan. These guys are supposed to be really naughty, into illegal drugs, and also hiring hitmen. And there is the Sharic gang that specializes in the smuggling of drugs. Sometimes these Serbian mafia groups join with other evil people from other countries, for example Albania or Russia, to gain more strength and expand the irregularities all over Europe. This makes them very powerful and difficult to eliminate from the market. Building on our understanding of the Serbian Mafia's deep involvement in the global drug trade, let's shift our focus to another dark facet of their operations. The Serbian Mafia is deep into some pretty serious criminal stuff, with drug trafficking topping the list. The Serbian Mafia is active in many organized criminal acts, mainly involved in the drug trade business. They do business with producers of cocaine from South America. They are so entrenched in this world. Through it, they are able to transport a very large quantity of cocaine into Europe and North America. For example, the so-called Group America, or the Cartel of the Balkans, has some ingenious methods of transporting drugs. They have also tried to place cocaine in concrete panels so as to try to smuggle it past customs. And guess what? They make about $80 billion a year just from selling cocaine. But being a criminal organization, they do not just limit themselves to drug smuggling. The Serbian Mafia also engages in human trafficking and the operation of prostitution establishments all across Europe. It is especially disastrous in that it exploits the vulnerable, putting them to work or predicting they will turn to prostitution. This is a big problem because it affects not only the individuals directly, but weakens communities and makes them more violent and unstable. Besides all of those, the Serbian Mafia indulges in every other kind of unlawful activity, such as extortion, money laundering, sales of arms and ammunition, and even the betting business. For example, the Sharic gang is said to be incredibly involved in drug trafficking. They have actually forced other cartels out of business across markets in Italy. One of their most magnificent episodes of crime was the helicopter robbery in Stockholm, recorded in 2009, that involved Serbian criminals. The Serbian Mafia's darkness has no limits, and this is proven through this reality. Suppose all the villains from the latest superhero film are in harmony with the directors who are expected to arrest them. Sounds pretty scary, right? And that's exactly the situation which occurs in Serbia. There is a famous murderer who is tied with the Serbian Mafia. His name is Veljko Belivuk. In court, he said that he did some really bad things, but he was supported by some very high-ranking officials in the government. Such collaboration between criminals and politicians has left a number of people in Serbia without confidence in their leaders. When we watch films or shows based on the Serbian Mafia, they appear to us just like some cool and macho stories. But in real life, they turn places dangerous and cause normal people to feel threatened. It is relevant here to remind the audience that what he or she is watching is not real, and it is staged. The real story is that these criminals often inflict much pain and ensure that people find it difficult to have faith in the legal system again. The current status is shocking. The Serbians are using new strategies to avoid arrest, and the business has been extremely busy lately. They are still really involved in smuggling drugs such as cocaine, heroin, and others, and still maintain most of the control over drug markets not only in Europe, but also in North America. Police are trying to arrest these criminals more than ever before. They have conducted large-scale operations, for instance, Balkan Warrior, and thousands of criminals have been arrested, plus many criminal groups destroyed. One big news story is about Veljko Belivuk, the greatest boss of the mafia that was arrested and now standing trial. His trial hit mainstream media news because he was supposedly on the payroll of some government officials. This has made people become very curious and worried on how far such relationships can go. Now, if we look at the future, it does not appear that there are too much in store for the Serbian Mafia organization, considering the increased emphasis that the world is placing on corruption, and even countries collaborating more in fighting crime. Maybe these criminals will need to change their way. They could disperse into smaller groups that are difficult to arrest, or FBI investigate and engage in new unlawful activities. However, if corruption continues to be an issue, then this will enable them to continue with their criminal activities. In other words, with the development of the world around it, the Serbian Mafia may also develop and adapt similar to the world that is around it. If you remember the New York Mafia and how they changed with the times and attempted to adapt for the development of themselves and to remain hidden from the law, of course they won't stay back in it. Police and everyone else should know that they are very good at this one, and they have always been, because they need to stop these criminals. The growth of the Serbian Mafia from the post-socialist times of Yugoslavia through the wars and to the status of international criminal power shows the interaction between the criminal and political worlds. That is why it is necessary to develop the knowledge and eliminate the base of the organized criminal motivation with the aim to protect the inhabitants' trust and guarantee the prophylactic of the criminal elements in the future. Thank you for watching Crime Republic. We hope this video has provided a clearer understanding of the extensive network and influence of the Serbian Mafia. The fight against organized crime is ongoing, and awareness is key. For more deep dives into global criminal networks and their impacts on society, be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Like and share this video to spread awareness, and don't hesitate to comment below with your thoughts or questions. Stay safe and stay informed.